welcome to DevNet Zone Barcelona 2019, the first session of our theater. So thank you for coming, and we will open it up beyond here tomorrow for many more sessions. So please check the schedule and feel free to come back. Also, Happy New Year. This is probably the last day that anyone can say Happy New Year, so Happy New Year to you all. I'm here today to talk to you about DevNet Exchange. So as you all know, Cisco now has APIs across the portfolio of our infrastructure. And with that, we're seeing a whole new wave of innovation whereby third parties are creating solution sets that are delivering a significant amount of value and driving business outcomes. So today we're going to talk to 4 panelists who actually have solutions in our exchange about what they're doing and the solutions that they have and the delivery that they're providing and the business outcomes that they're driving. So my name is Merat, and I am a Senior Director for DevNet, responsible for our business community. We have 4 panelists with us, as I said, who actually have solutions in Exchange, similar to how we have DevNet, and we brought together all of our consolidated information on those APIs, our learning labs, our sandboxes, and code. We now have launched DevNet Exchange. In Exchange, we have a set of solutions that have code snippets that you can grab and build with, and we also have package solutions. The panelists here represent package solutions. Our goal is to have these solutions shared with you so that you can become an advocate around what is available for network engineers, IT, working with your line of business, your OT, as well as your IT organizations. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the panelists to introduce themselves, and we'll get going.
Right, so my name is Martin Wüthrich. I'm the CEO of a company called Booker & Sutter. We are based in Switzerland. We have a branch in Germany and a smaller branch in North America. And we focus on Cisco contact centers since 18 years.
Perfect. Sandra?
My name is Sandra Manuelian-Schlotter, and I'm global partner at N3N, in charge of partnerships, just like the DevNet ecosystem partners. And we are based in San Francisco, California. We also have headquarters here in Europe and in Asia Pacific. So we cover the globe. Our solution is working on visualizations, operations, workflows, bringing the data to the line of business for IT to simplify IT's life. And that's about it. We're going to have more questions?
Absolutely.
Hey, my name is Patrick Schmidt. So first of all, Par and the whole DevNet team, big thanks for having us here at the show, right? Being here is first of all great for Avi, but also a big business value for us. Thanks for having us, right?
Our pleasure.
My name is Patrick Schmidt. I'm Avi's Vice President for Global Sales Business Development. We're headquartered in Santa Clara, California, but we have presence in all major countries here in Europe. And we're an infrastructure company. We're coming from networking, and we do layer 4, layer 7 networking services, application delivery, load balancing, web application firewalling, right? But in a pure software cloud scale architecture. And that's why we talk so much to the DevNet group.
Perfect. Stefano.
Hi, I'm Stefano Linari. I'm founder and CEO of Alleantia. Alleantia is an Italian company based in Pisa, the leaning tower city. And we have an IoT software gateway for Industry 4.0 projects. So we allow integration of industrial devices with application and cloud platform. That's all.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about who your typical customer is and the kind of value that you're bringing them.
Can I get first?
You get first.
Good. So having said that we are from the contact center field, then we always feel a little bit like strangers at Cisco Live, previously known Cisco Networkers, because we don't deal with networks at all. We just expect guys like you guys to make sure the network works, and then we can put the contact center on top. Having said that, when I joined the first Networkers event like 15 years ago or so, the ratio between these guys over there and the developers was like 97% to 3%, whereas in this hall here it's like 5% to 95%. Might not be true for the whole event here, but definitely there are way more developers here. And that actually, why is that the case? So every platform vendor provides a product. And if you want to provide that product on a global scale, things are completely different in different geographies. So the CRM solutions in Europe are typically different than the ones in the US, different than the ones in Europe. And with the open APIs, companies like us here, or also developers from your end side, could actually go in and develop their own solution and integrate the technology into a business application so that the business can really take advantage of the underlying platform without actually having to know the real details behind it.
Perfect. Sandra?
I'm going to add on to what Martin said. API is the key word, right? I think for developers out there, and I'm not a developer, but I know that APIs have made life a lot easier. And what N3N does is actually uses gateways, already pre-selected gateways, to pull data from different disparate systems. So our industries can be from manufacturing to retail. Imagine putting a camera on a manufacturing line, pulling that data into a solution that detects before the machine goes down or before that production line goes down and alerts the operations that something is happening. Now you have all that in real time thanks to the APIs pulling the data from the edge, from sensors, OT, IT, video, and consolidating it all onto a visual operations workflow and facilitating that for the line of business. So that's to add to the API. That's why we're all here together in DevNet, working together on being able to connect the data from the edge and being able to make decisions in real time.
Yeah, API is the common theme here between all of us, which is great. So, for us, application delivery is not a new thing, right? So that is in the market for 20 plus years. But application architectures have changed fundamentally, and you can run an application in so many different clouds these days. So with what we have developed, you can manage the service levels for all your apps, whether they sit in Google, whether they sit in Amazon, whether they sit in Azure, or in any of your local data centers, through API calls, through a single API. And the value that that creates is a 50% cost saving, and you deploy your apps 60 times faster than before. It's as simple as that.
Alleantia leverage API from a little bit different side, because a developer like our friends here want to access using same APIs to different industrial devices. But unfortunately, industrial devices are there from years and years with a technology that is aged and is designed to produce and control, not to interoperate. With Alleantia, we provide an abstraction layer with a semantic information available over API that can be used for people who manage network, dashboarding, CRM, ERP, and so on. We have the lower layer that is able to abstract complexity of industrial protocol and moving at the next step at the API level.
So it sounds like, especially from N3N and Sandra and Stefano from Alleantia, that your solution touches multiple business organizations, line of business, OT, and IT. How do you bring those synergies together and navigate through an organization to first tell them about your solution and then get them to work together? Sandra, do you want to answer that?
First.
Oh, you want to go first? Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So again, you need to see us a little bit from the contact center side. Things are again a little bit different. So very business-led. So a contact center manager that owns a contact center, the last thing he worries about is network or technology. They just don't want to deal with it. What they want is they want to optimize the workforce of their agents. So they want to make sure that you can save 5 to 6 seconds when an inbound call comes in. So that's all they care about. They don't want to know why this is happening, how this is happening. It just needs to work. On the other hand side, you have the IT people that want to know all the details. They want to know which protocol are you using, is it encrypted, is it not encrypted, do we generate release dependencies if we integrate two systems together? Oh yes, oh let's not do it. And then sometimes you end up in a fight where the business says, I need it to save 7 seconds on a call, and IT says, no, we don't want it because it's going to generate a mess on every upgrade. And that's the challenge we typically see in all those discussions. Now, the good thing is when we can bring these two teams together and actually have them sitting at the table, sometimes even starting to know each other. Oh, you're the business guy. Oh, you're the IT guy. Oh, I didn't know you. And they start to have a first time a dialogue together, and usually the chances are pretty good that they will agree and they realize that the business outcome is important, but you don't want to create any technical debt on the IT side as well. And you can mitigate that between the two. When these guys don't join the table, then we're basically the middleman, and we're the postman. We run from business to IT and try to explain and link things together. That's not a good thing. We're unfortunately still seeing that nowadays. But today, I think what is really important is bringing both parties together at the table and make sure they understand each other's position.
Perfect. And to a large degree, that's what we are trying to do with DevNet Exchange, making these solutions much more visible so that all of you can even identify them and take them to a line of business or take them to IT and avoid a shadow IT organization trying to solve or block these solutions that are coming to the market. Sandra, yours is even more complex.
Yeah, I liked your, IT and OT meeting each other, and we do the same thing. We're sort of facilitating these companies. Typical large enterprises have very siloed line of business. Everybody has their own applications. Everybody runs their own solutions, and IT has just fixed things, right? So I think that now IT is realizing they have a bigger role with digital transformation and acceleration of all this data out there on the edge, and all these different applications with different data centers. How do you merge all that? How do you bring it into real life? And IT's life has become much more complex, but actually much more interesting as well, because now they're working closer with the line of business on their needs of what are they. So if I'm going to take an example, retail. The retail store has facilities, has multiple locations. If you can monitor those retail locations from one place, or a manufacturing company, if you can monitor them, you have those productivities that Martin was talking about. It creates efficiencies in workforce and productivity in the outcome by having that data at the hands of the operations. So OT can get all that information from IT, from sensors, from video, and collect all that with N3N's platform that creates rules and rules engine that helps determine if there's a long line, let's say at the POS, in a retail department store. As an operations person for that store, I need to make sure I'm opening up more lines for the POS. But as a CIO, I want to be able to see all of my operations across every country or every region where my stores are. So the CIO is sort of the new digital chief, right, that needs this information at the tip of their hands. But each operations can also facilitate their job, because now the store supervisor knows he needs to open a POS. The inventory people know there's missing inventory. So you're bringing all that on a single operations pane and creating a lot of efficiencies, cost efficiencies, productivity, which impacts everybody at the bottom line, right?
It absolutely does.
All right, so we as AVI, as I said, coming out of the infrastructure, we don't work so much with lines of businesses, but we help IT departments to better meet the needs of the lines of businesses. And I want to give you an example. And I need to be a bit careful because it's an example from Switzerland. And as Martin is from Switzerland, any more Swiss people here in the round? Any more people from Switzerland? Okay.
No.
This is from the Swiss lottery, Swisslos, right? Swisslos has a couple of times in the year a huge jackpot that they offer to the market in Switzerland. It's called Euro Millions. Actually, this Friday, 1st of Feb, they offer in the jackpot to win 135 million Swiss francs.
Wow.
So this is about 125 million euros or 115 million dollars US. So it's huge.
So if we all bond together, can you buy us a couple of tickets?
Yeah.
We have to ask Martin. We have to ask Martin for that one. But you can imagine that those couple times of the year, the people in Switzerland, they want to access the applications of Swisslos, with a much higher penetration than throughout the normal week. 40, 50, 60% more traffic comes to the apps. So by using AVI, we can scale up and scale down the needs and the service levels that those applications are requiring, right? And with that, actually, Swisslos confirms that they not only save 60% of cost, but they reduce churn because they increase customer satisfaction. So in the past, the system wasn't available, and broke down, and customers stepped away. We ensure that it's always on. So customer satisfaction is increasing, revenue goes up. So we help IT departments to better meet the SLAs and what lines of businesses are required.
Now, is it the same departments within IT and data center that would explore and leverage your solutions? Because you're cloud-based, so is that add a different dimension to who you need to talk to and get buy-in from?
We support a couple of different use cases. So we work with cloud departments, we work with DevOps teams to better roll out applications, right? Microservices. Deutsche Bank is a great reference customer for us in that case. And we work with the classical networking departments just by replacing what they have in the infrastructure to reduce cost. So all of that across the board.
Okay, thank you. Stefano.
Our market is join operation guys with IT guys. We work in the industrial space, so the Industry 4.0 or industrial IoT as you call. And when you connect one device to the infrastructure, you have, yes, to exchange data, but you have to provide possibility of the people who use the machine and people who use data even to speak together. How they can share a common language. We can translate for sure information from Profibus to MQTT. Yes, we can do that, but our application is even enabler for them, because we provide a simple interface, a web interface for production guys that is simpler, like an interface for a printer or a modem. Just few clicks. This is my machine I want to share with my IT department. Yes. And I know which information from my machine, from my job, they are looking. Because yes, one of the main problems that you have to solve is internal resistance to connect production assets. Because in such a way, my boss are spying me what they are looking from my daily activity. If machine is stopped, they can see, they can tell me something, they can really understand what's happening, or they simply see that production is down. So we provide a simple web interface where all information available is in a list, and like an app over your mobile phone, you have your ERP and you have to provide authorization on the edge to which information your boss is looking for. You can see my speed, my temperature, my this, and this other information maybe not. So at the end, you can even maintain a certain equilibrium between operation and control and monitoring. This sounds like simple things, but Alleantia provide one trusted point where information are exchanged in format and controlled in access. And it's a third parties that, yes, it's a IT device running inside Cisco devices, so it's sound network, but it's installed inside control cabinet usually. So production guys see our software like a piece of their facility. So we can even enabling this communication and this checkpoint between the two worlds that actually the companies are completely separated with different targets.
Can you share with us, keeping with you for continuity, customer success and the business outcome that it drove?
Yeah. We can share several customers when we install our device. Actually, Alleantia we measure the amount of euros of connected assets that our software manage. So we have about 6 billion euros of industrial devices that exchange information with their boss using our technology. One reference case that I like to show here is for Paglieri. Paglieri is a the oldest and largest Italian cosmetic company. They produce soap and other home care products. They are based in the north of Italy. And they have to move their production plant that is managed by hand, by experienced people after 30 years of experience. When these people have to leave the company, they have to move to a modern approach and a scientific approach to program, manage the production line. They have 10 machines one by another that have to be tuned to reach the maximum speed of the entire line. And they ask us to put all this information inside a big data analytics platform to provide analytics that learn from the experience of the guys until it's still working, and then proceed in some automatic ways.
So when you first explored the solution, one of the things that we talked about before the panel was the way you approach difficult problems. And I think just so our audience knows, Stefano is actually on the team that won the Nobel Prize for the CERN project out of Switzerland. So he brings a very unique, how many times do you get to introduce that, right? He really provides a unique view of how to solve business problems. Can you share that? I found that really interesting.
This comes from my experience when you work I worked at CERN in Geneva and Fermilab in Chicago for nuclear engineering. I'm a nuclear engineer. So, and when you have to solve a problem, something that no one has never built before, this large hadron collider, I worked there. And there was a rules from my boss. My boss won the Nobel Prize. It was, you have to do this piece, and you can do with this technology, but it's a little bit larger, it's a little bit heavier, but you have another technology that, yes, probably work, but it's a little bit lighter, or there is another way, will be the lightest, smallest, but no one does it. It's possible or not, and their answer is pay more and do the impossible. Because we are here to do research. If it's feasible, it's not our stuff. So, after 10 years of this approach, I moved this approach even in my companies. So, if someone has still done, it's not interested for us. So, our idea is make Industry 4.0 as simple as connecting printers to a PC. Sounds strange, yeah. But after 8 years, we are able to do.
And is everyone familiar with the term Industry 4.0? Maybe we should explain that. It's sort of addressed as in manufacturing as the fourth industrial revolution. Did I explain that correctly? Do you want to expand on it?
I don't
Hear you, yeah.
Oh, for Industry 4.0.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that is, just so everyone's familiar with the term?
Industry 4.0.
Oh, what that means? Okay. Industry 4.0 is someone call it industrial IoT. So it's the possibility to connect industrial devices to information technology and application, cloud. Every software tools able to extract value to information that until now was used just for control, local control of equipment. We have to add intelligence. It's something like not Internet of Things, but Internet over things. So moving Internet technology over industrial devices.
I think, yeah.
Sandra, please add. Yes,
But
absolutely.
Industry 4.0, I guess it's 4.0, whatever they call it, is really, again, about collecting the data that's usually, as you said, on machines. But now imagine, and what N3N does too, is replacing those sensors with a camera. So imagine, again, the production line as a camera. And today, the operations people don't know if a machine is down and you have remote factories in different parts of the world. So our success story is auto manufacturer, Hyundai, is using IoT, is using operational sensors and video sensors and ERP systems and back-end systems to look at when was the last time a machine was repaired or maintained. So now you have different data sets that are being pulled together to be able to stop a machine before the outcome is not good in the production breakdown. So instead of waiting to see that the production line is not working properly, now we can use cameras like eyes, sensors that are remote in remote factories and pull all that data in and be able to even send a message to the IoT platform, operations platform, to shut down the system, right?
Absolutely.
So that's using all of that consolidation of data and having it live and having a camera that looks and tilts and zooms and can even see a piece of the machine to see which part is not functioning properly. That's another eye sensor. That's a 4.0 industry where now we're using robots and we're using machines instead of humans and becoming much more productive. So they increase their productivity and the workforce productivity from 4 hours a day to 1 hour a day in just monitoring and surveilling factories that are remote. And I think $1.4 million of annual savings in monitoring and looking at sensors and pulling in different data to be able to stop and make that decision in real time before the product comes out defective.
So it's a sizable opportunity and a tremendous business outcome that we're, together with Cisco and our partners, really being able to capitalize upon. I want to have poor Sandra talk some more, because you're also doing things in smart cities.
Right. So we're doing things in smart cities, and we're doing things in, so smart cities, imagine again, different operations, right? You have the police, you have the ambulance, you have parking, you have lighting, and Cisco Kinetic, for instance, if you're familiar with the IoT platform, Cisco Kinetic for Cities collects data from light posts, from parking spaces, so we can pull all those different applications onto one command control for the city. So the city of Miami-Dade, for instance, today has different operations panels, but the CIO and the mayor of the city can see all the different operations in one video wall. And any particular event or incident creates an alert, and immediately the CIO, but also all the different departments, know where to dispatch police from one remote area. So you're not, having to communicate walkie-talkie. You're actually seeing live. You can see how many police cars are there and dispatch that particular auto response. We're also doing physical security. So, physical security, and I don't want to take this.
No, please, because all of you experienced this
right
here at the venue. So
in physical security, Cisco is actually our customer. So we work with DevNet partners like GeoShield and Single Wire. You might know, who are notification for alerting in case of an emergency, and for public schools, safer schools and campuses, but also events like this. We're using video, we're using Wi-Fi, so badges, Bluetooth, any type of sensor to identify anybody that is in the event that's not supposed to be at the event. So we're using facial recognition, AI, pulling the video streams and video cameras. We're not doing that here live, don't worry. No one's on the blacklist. But we are, so the securities operations for Cisco are concerned about public safety and staff safety, right? Cisco staff, but also attendees. It's Cisco's responsibility, right? So how do we use technology, Wi-Fi, to locate badges that are lost or stolen? How do we identify, how do we account for the staff if in case of an incident, active shooter, or some emergency? Now we can see with MAC addresses, mobile devices, where everybody is. So it helps the emergency crew to respond faster, and it helps the Cisco services, security services, identify who's there, how many people are there, use cameras, and use all the different sensors to get a quicker evacuation if need be, use digital displays to show people how to evacuate if they have to lock down a part of the building. So really using all the different sensors and digital.
And this is data that we're getting off of the programmable network. So these are applications that are ubiquitous. I mean, what company is not concerned with physical security, right?
Right.
So being able to come working with DevNet partners is really deriving at that value. So why don't we go ahead and shift back to Patrick, sorry. Can you tell us about automation in the data center and how Avi is working with Cisco, and maybe reference a customer and talk about the delivery and the improvements that you were able to achieve?
Sure thing. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I mean, the good news is that our solution is 100% complementary to Cisco's portfolio. Having said that, we have worked with the Cisco business units to, put a seamless integration in place through our REST API with the Cisco ACI solution, with the Cisco Cloud Center, Cisco Tetration, all those types of solutions you usually find in the data center, but not only in the data center. And also with the Cisco ICE solution, for example, for mobility management and identity management, for example. We interface through the standardized ACI, standardized API. We do this in a certified way, so for you as a customer, everything is pre-tested, pre-certified. You can be just simply working once you roll it out. But we've also combined, our service and support model, so that, if there's a case, if you want to open a case, if you have a problem in your networks, you can open a case either with a Cisco Technical Assistance Center or with an Avi Technical Assistance Center, just as you like. And on the backside of things, we work together. So that is seen as a huge value, right? So seamless integration, whether you roll out a Cisco ACI fabric, ACI multi-cloud, and anywhere is a big topic here at the fair, right? We integrate perfectly well with the Cisco API. Having said that, you want to deploy networks. Now you can deploy networks not only in layer 2 to layer 4, you can deploy them and automate the deployment from layer 2 to layer 7, independently of in which cloud the network is going to be provisioned. That saves huge cost and efforts, to all of our clients. And also it eases up troubleshooting, significantly, because it's one interface you look into. One interface from Cisco, one interface from Avi, for all applications, any type of data center, any type of cloud. 50% cost savings, 60% faster troubleshooting, and higher availability for all types of applications is the result.
Wonderful. Martin, can you share with us the solutions that you're delivering to companies? Because CRM is everywhere. Every company, that's a basic offering that you have to have in order to do business. So share with us a little bit about some successes that you've had and how you've used DevNet to actually modernize your solution as well.
First comment, maybe, unfortunately today there are still companies out there that don't have a CRM.
To have SIs get their hands on our platforms in order to work with your solution as well.
Yeah. For us, Sandbox from DevNet is something that is fundamental, because a lot of system integrator and software vendor are approaching industrial IoT. They want to move their knowledge over this kind of data. But when you have to touch real data in a production environment, at the end it's dangerous. So providing a full set of sandbox, virtualizing the edge environment over IOX, our software inside with a machine simulator, creating your management infrastructure maybe with kinetic, all is in a safe in vitro environment. So you can play, you can test your application, your logic, try to control machines, as Sandra told before. If there is something wrong, stop it. Yes, but you must be sure before to stop a production line. It's better to test it more and more time. And having all simulated is an incredible resource for every developer. And Cisco DevNet provide a full stack simulation and set of tools for developer, helping us to distribute our software, and at the end create value in the market.
Wonderful. And last questions before we can open it up for some questions. So all of you now have your solutions in the DevNet ecosystem exchange. Can you share with us what value that's brought you in terms of working either with other partners and solutions within ecosystem exchange and just actually to your overall bottom line? Martin, go ahead.
Okay, so when we started building the first few connectors, then it was always a custom solution, and they were individual among different customers. When we decided to productize them, then at that time CDN came in, or then DevNet Exchange. Nowadays we have like 12 connectors of DevNet Exchange, and if you look at our global revenue, then 50% of it just comes from these connectors. So it was the other 50% is systems integration work. 50% is clean just software revenue. So think about it, it scales really well because you write it once, of course you need to maintain it, you upload it to the platform, customers, IT or business can actually find it, and then you can sell it on a global scale. Again, we're based in Switzerland, Germany, and a little bit in the US, but we can sell in Asia Pac. Why? People look us up on App Exchange, they can find us, and they immediately get way more trust than when they believe that strange little Swiss company tries to sell me something.
Right, because you could just go in and search actually by technology platform, by vertical, by region, and you can also search, we have a subset of those solutions that are actually on the Cisco GPL. So you don't have to stop and try to find out how to buy them, you can connect directly with them and get them off of Cisco. Sandra, do you want to talk about the discoveries you made?
I mean, I think it's to your point, Stefano, earlier, is I think having a sandbox environment is key for developers. And again, I'm not a developer, but I know work very closely with our developers, and that's always the first question, is how do we test out the environment in vitro and behind closed walls before we put it into live production. And I think DevNet is critical and crucial for that. So we're working with a visual layer that takes a lot of different APIs, and a lot of our partners are on the DevNet. So, you know, we're working with a facial recognition company, their API will be there, Cyber Extruder. We're working with Single Wire, that's a push notification, they're on the DevNet. So how do we pull all those different APIs together and create that sandbox to test out the systems talking to each other in production before putting it into production? I think that's the key value.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I want to complement what Martin has said. So everything around the ecosystem exchange also is true for us, right? But there are two additional points that create tremendous value for Avi. First thing is, you know, DevNet's learning classes, training offerings. You know, everything that Avi does is based on API calls. So as you offer learning classes on network programmability, perhaps with the adoption of Avi Networks technologies in the same way. And the second thing is, we're part of Solutions. Sorry, I got a bit of a cough, so I need to have a problem. We're part of Solution Partner Plus, right?
Right.
That means we're part of Cisco's price list. Our technology is now available to all Cisco partners, to all Cisco's customers, out of a sudden. Obviously, it's tremendously valuable for us, you know, in our revenue growth, to hit our revenue growth targets, and in combination with the joint support model, it's a fantastic value for all of our clients.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. And Stefano, you're the newbie of the group, so we just actually have listed you in Ecosystem Exchange, and you'll be able to see a featured solution profile on what you have. But go ahead.
Yeah, we are joining now the ecosystem with our tools, and we are sure that people who are developing all the other pieces before and after our software, so that have experience on the edge, have experience on kinetics, have experience on dashboarding, CRM, yes, we can cooperate together inside a common fast-growing environment. So even here in this panel, I met for the first time guys that probably before the end of the week will be able to run a POC for every customer, because we are sharing same technologies and we have a very complementary offering. helping us even Cisco communication umbrella, even umbrella is misleading. It is, we are very happy to be there, to be on this stage, and yes, even today we demonstrate the power of this ecosystem.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that concludes our panel discussion. Or if there's any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can bring a mic around.